Hi, this is Henk Akkermans and this is Supply Chain Dynamics Chapter 8 Sysdea Gameplay 3 the order backlog and the financial flows. So the customer order flow, the order backlog, is shown up here. What is special about this model is that we do not treat those custom orders as endogenous. Indeed, as we also didn't treat them as endogenous in Chapter 5. We assume that how many customers are interested in placing an order depends on the behavior of the supply chain that has to produce that order. In the ASML case, where there was scarcity in the market, when the customers suspect that you have difficulty supplying the product, they will ask actually for more. In most other markets, such as for instance also this market for large wide-body commercial airplanes, it's the opposite. If customers get the idea that in supply chain terms you do not have your act in order, they will order fewer planes. They will cancel their planes and they will order fewer new planes. And that's also shown here. So here is the main customer flow that we have for the plane. So there's a potential market from 300, it becomes less and less. That is then via a first order material delay transformed into a certain amount of prospects, companies interested in buying a new plane, that grows until the customer order backlog starts, the new orders start growing faster than the new prospects. Those new orders are again a first order material delay as a function of commercial sales times market attractiveness, but we'll get to that in a minute. And the customer order backlog is depleted by an order fill rate, which is equal to the manufacturing rate that we saw earlier on. And that leads to accumulation of aircraft delivered. What you can see if you let the model run towards the end is that this actually is a third order material delay, as we've seen in some of the earlier models, with this characteristic S-curve for cumulative output. Now the interesting elements in this part of the model are the rates, the new order rates, the order fill rate, and the order cancellation rate. Order fill rate is straightforward enough. For every plane that's being delivered, an order is being filled. The new orders and the order cancellations both depend on the market attractiveness. The market attractiveness is really a function for which we assume a parameter value of 1. Let me explain that. What it says here is that the market attractiveness is equal to the target production cycle time divided by the perceived delivery delay. Now that we'll get into this a bit further, but when the perceived delivery delay is equal to what we expect that it should be, the production cycle time, this is what it should be. So when the value that it should be is equal to the value that it is, that value is 1, and that means that's a high market attractiveness. It can also be higher if we actually have a shorter perceived delivery delay than the target production cycle time, as we have towards the end, but that's a whole different story. The interesting phase is around here, around the period after the scheduled first delivery after 72 weeks. Why after 72 weeks? Well, until that time, all that the customers know is that, the company said, Airbus said that they have a scheduled first a delivery delay of X, and that's all we've got. But after only at around the scheduled first delivery, it becomes clear if the company is able to deliver that first plane at that time or not. And as we've seen in the case, Airbus wasn't and had to delay the introduction of the plane several times, as Boeing has had, as Lockheed Martin has had, and so many other aircraft manufacturers. So, and that's also clear in the formula here. So the initial value for the perceived delivery delay is what the company says that the delivery delay should be, the target production cycle time. But up here you see that if time stays is shorter than the scheduled first delivery delay, then that's also what we put in. But after that moment, this simply becomes an information delay, and the current delivery delay then also starts to determine its perception of what the delivery delay is. And that current delivery delay is higher in the beginning than what the company said it would be. And that's what you see here. So the perceived delivery delay becomes less and less and less, but the crucial period is when it becomes higher, because when it becomes higher, then the market attractiveness becomes lower, and that results in order cancellations from here, well, from when precisely, actually shortly after the 70 weeks, month 72. So here, from this month on, it's clear that the market attractiveness will be lower. And then from here, after the first, the production delay, you see that actually planes are being scheduled, are being cancelled. The formula suggests a big outflow, but actually the cancellation delay by which this is divided is 60. So every month it's 1/60th of the total, some 3.5%, or every year it's 20% or so of the total value of the total customer order backlog. So it's not so dramatic. It is more dramatic than it was in the real case, but still the point is clear. If you are not able to produce when you should, then you will get order cancellations. And also in the new orders, the attractiveness of the market is an important driver for new prospects also. So you see here that after week 72, that the number of new prospects also starts to decline. Part of it has to do with the fact that there are fewer prospects. Part of it has to do with the fact that this market attractiveness is becoming lower. And the multiplication of the two leads then to this considerable drop after week 72. You see here it peaks at around month 84, and then it drops off again. And as I said, the combination of the market attractiveness and the declining number of prospects. So that's the story for the customer order flow. Then the one sector that we didn't look at, which is pretty boring, it's really just bookkeeping, is the financial flows. We keep track of the accumulation of man years in design, in tooling, leads to a total number of development years. And they're also in manufacturing, and so we can keep track of how many man years per unit sold have been realized, which is important to evaluate the overall cost effectiveness of various policies. And that concludes the description of this model.